Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pick a Side. Everybody knows, well, if you don't know, Jamal Adams is asking for a trade. And of course, JC and I are huge Jet fans. So we're just going to get into it. JC, how do you feel about Jamal Adams asking for a trade?
The Jet side of me feels like it's a stab in the back. I mean, this is a guy we drafted. This is a guy our whole organization was excited for. He brought swagger to the team. He is right now, he's on the roster. He was my favorite player on the team. I know a bunch of Jets fans who he's their favorite player on the team. So to see him want to request a trade, I mean, I see his point of view. The Jets haven't really been really good for the past, who knows how long, maybe 10 years. Last year, I felt like there was speculation of us trying to entertain trade calls to him. I mean, obviously, we weren't going to pull the plug on anything, but I feel like, him hearing that in the background, hearing that background noise made him kind of skeptical of continuing with the New York Jets. I know that this franchise, for the most part, isn't a winning franchise. I mean, if you see the teams that he has listed, those are all teams that have a winning culture, that have a winning atmosphere, and really good players around all of them. So, I mean, as a Jets fan, it kind of hurt because he is my favorite player on the roster, and I do think he's the best safety, and he's very entertaining to watch. But, I mean, if we put ourselves in his shoes, I mean, I can understand why he would want to request a trade. I do think that he should have handled this a little more professionally. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, as a Jets fan, it sucks because, this is a guy that everybody wanted. We got him, and he looks like he's on the verge of being out of New York. What do you think?
I honestly feel no way about it because I think we've known that Jamal Adams was kind of heading down this path for a while.
President.
Since the beginning of last season, he said that he didn't want to be on the team. He's been talking about getting traded for a while now. I don't really care if Jamal leaves or if he stays. Because if he stays, of course, we have one of the best strong safeties on the team. Mm-hmm. But if he leaves, we're going to get a lot back for him. People seem to forget that Jamal Adams has no leverage in this situation whatsoever. Yep. Jamal Adams is locked up for 3 more years. We don't have to trade him at all. Realistically, it would be an a-hole thing to do, but realistically, the Jets could be like, okay, we're not going to trade you, and you just won't play if you don't want to play for us.
Yeah.
And he could realistically sit for the next 2 years and
3 years, right?
And honestly, that'll ruin his career. The Jets have all the leverage in this situation. Would the Jets do something like that? Probably not, because nobody's going to want to play for the Jets. But in this situation, the Jets have all of the leverage.
I agree.
And Jamal Adams has none.
Do you think that he's doing this in a professional manner, or do you think he can handle this better?
Look, I think he's doing this in the most unprofessional way possible.
Exactly, I 100% agree with you.
But then again, we aren't sure what the Jets are doing behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Because
this all started when last season in the trade deadline, when we were entertaining some trades for him. We weren't gonna pull the plug on anything, but we took a few calls for him. He's the best safety.
We were entertaining trades for every single player on our team except Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think another reason with him is that he sees that these other safeties like Landon Collins got a big deal. Eddie Jackson, he's better than them. I feel like he wants that deal. But to your point that you made the other day, I mean, 2 or 3 of the Jets positions are really spent on middle linebacker, running back, safety.
Le'Veon Bell is the second highest paid player on our team, and C.J. Mosley is the first. If we pay Jamal Adams, the 3 top paid players on the Jets are C.J. Mosley, Le'Veon Bell, and Jamal Adams. We're not even sure if C.J. Mosley is going to be healthy.
And we're not sure Le'Veon Bell's Le'Veon right now.
So it would be such a bad move for the Jets to spend this amount of money. Aaron Donald has been the best defensive player for the last couple of years in the NFL. Last year, 2019, he made $19 million. Jamal Adams is asking for $20 million.
Yeah.
Jamal Adams is a great player, but he is not worth $20 million a year. He is not worth that. If I'm the Jets, I'm comfortable paying him around $13 million or less. 13 to 11 million. I'm not going over that number. Because, okay, I don't think it's hard to find a strong safety in the NFL that can have 2 more interceptions. than Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams has 2 career interceptions. I don't think it's hard to find a safety that could get 2 interceptions or more.
Dude, I think one of his interceptions came against the Lions one week, and then I don't even know when
The other one came against Jared Stidham in garbage time. And the pass.
Oh, you're right.
And the pass wasn't caught by the receiver. It was bobbled, and that's why Jamal was able to intercept that ball.
But I mean, look, if we're being honest, I mean, Jamal Adams is not really a ball hawk safety. You know what I mean? I mean, when I see him play, he's usually in the box. He's great at getting to the quarterback for a safety. He's great at making tackles. He's more of like a hybrid, more like of a linebacker. I think his lack of picks come because of the defense that we run and where we put him on in the field. But you know, I agree with that. I mean, I need more interceptions from Jamal. I mean, Marcus May has played less games, and he actually has more interceptions than Jamal Adams. I think he has like 5 or 6. So, I mean.
So, the real question is this. If the Jets trade Jamal Adams, would it be a good move?
So, I've been on board with trading him since last year just because I feel like what we can get for him in return is a lot. I think if we get maybe, 2 first-round picks, that's pretty good. I think if we get 2 first-round picks and maybe a receiver, I think that's really good. So, I mean, like, the caliber of player that he is, we're going to get something for him. And if we're getting picks, we have to, you know, bank on Joe Douglas making the right picks for him. But, yeah, I think we can get a lot for a player of his caliber. You know, in some instances, we might even win the trade if we pick right. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's always that's an anomaly for the Jets if they pick right. But I agree with you. I think the Jets trading Jamal, it would really depend on what they get back if it's a good move or not. Mm-hmm. Because Jalen Ramsey, who was in the last year of his deal, was able to get 2 first-round picks. The Jaguars were able to get 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey. Jamal Adams is going to be cheap for the next couple of years. So I think it's reasonable to think that the Jets could get back 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Granted, I would want those 2 first-rounders to be either in the middle or early.
Of course.
You know, I don't want to trade with the Ravens to get the 31st pick in the draft.
Because you're not going to find a player. It's not that you're not going to find, but it's highly unlikely you're going to find a player
especially
at the 31st
with the Jets.
Especially
with the Jets. We aren't sure about the Jets. This is Joe Douglas's first draft.
Joe Douglas is all right, though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Me too.
We aren't sure how any of these players are going to turn out. It's a Jets mindset to think that Joe Douglas nailed this draft without seeing any of these players play. It's a Jets mindset that a lot of people have already bought into. But look, these are the teams that Jamal Adams has on his list that he wants to go to. It initially was a 7-team trade list, but he added one. Mm-hmm. The list is the Ravens, the Texans, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, and the Buccaneers. What do you feel about that list?
I feel like a lot of those are unlikely. I mean, I have 3 teams that I think could realistically have a shot at getting him.
Which ones?
I think it's the Eagles, Seahawks, and Cowboys. Eagles, you know, they need help with their secondary. I mean, one of our podcast partners here, River, he was complaining about their secondary all year. They got Darius Slay, but you get someone like Jamal Adams, you're instantly going to have a better secondary. The Seahawks actually need help in their secondary as well. Yeah, the Eagles and Seahawks just solely on the reasons that they need help, you know, to revamp their secondary. And the Cowboys, I just said the Cowboys because, you know, if you didn't know, Jamal Adams was on film the other day saying that he's trying to make a trade to the Cowboys happen. Probably highly unlikely, but, I mean, this has been known for, like, maybe a year now that's, like, his preferred destination is the Cowboys. I think he grew up in Texas. You know, he wants to play for the Cowboys. I mean, they're a world-class organization, so...
What?
They are. They have a lot of money. They have a shitload of money. I mean, they have 5 rings. They haven't won anything as of late, but they're America's team to this point. And
they're America's team, but they're not a world-class organization.
All right, as of late, they're not, but they're really...
As of 20 years.
As of late, I mean, look, they've had, 3 good seasons now?
Look, we'll just say
13-3 with Dak, his rookie year.
The Jets have made more AFC championship games in general than the Cowboys have in the last 20 years.
Okay. Well, I think me
world-class organization.
Wait, I call myself because I think I'm more solely speaking on the fact that they're America's team and everybody wants to play for them. I mean, Earl Thomas a couple years ago wanted to play for them, so I mean he's a hometown boy. I really think that those are the 3 teams. The Cowboys, just because I know that he wants to play for them. He was caught on camera saying it yesterday that he's trying to make it happen. So those are the 3 teams that I think that I could see Jamal Adams playing for.
I think my list is the same as yours, but I actually think that the Eagles aren't a realistic destination. Because I think the reason they didn't pay Malcolm Jenkins was because he was asking for too much money.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt that they're going to pay another safety that amount of money, or they're going to want to extend Jamal Adams. I think realistically, the Ravens, because Lamar Jackson's still on a rookie deal, so they have the money to sign Jamal long-term.
That'd be crazy.
And Jamal's not going to ask for a contract extension either way. Because the reason why he wants to get traded is not because he wants a contract. It's because he doesn't want to play for the Jets. Let's just be honest about that. It's not about the contract. He just doesn't want to play for the Jets.
Fine.
So the Ravens, realistic in my opinion, and I think that's the best destination. Seattle, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Buccaneers are a realistic destination for Jamal Adams.
Is that one of the teams he wants to go to?
Yeah, these are all of them. I would love to see Jamal Adams in Tampa Bay.
So all good teams.
With Todd Bowles, reunited with Todd Bowles.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. They got Shaq Barrett. They have a pretty good defense on there in Tampa Bay. You add Jamal Adams, that's borderline crazy.
All right, so we're gonna switch to the NBA real quick. So, who's the best coach in the NBA right now, in your opinion?
Okay, so I'm going to say Brad Stevens only because I don't want to get on the Nick Nurse bandwagon, although he deserves all the props and everything that comes along with that. He's a phenomenal coach. I'm going to say Brad Stevens just because, he's been with Boston for a couple years now. He made the ECF without Kyrie Irving 1 year. Last year, he didn't do too well in the playoffs not solely, but a lot of it had to do with Kyrie Irving. This year, the emergence of Jason Tatum in the offense. You got Kemba Walker. They were actually playing really well. A lot of people I know some people that actually had Boston going to the finals. I think River had them going to the finals, right? He said they were the best team. So, he's been consistent. Brad Stevens, to me, Brad Stevens is the best coach in the league.
This is why I disagree with you.
Okay.
Brad Stevens has been a great coach.
Yeah.
And if I was making a top 3 list, he'd be probably the third or second coach.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, Brad Stevens is the coach that he's going to take talent that's underwhelming and make them look better than they are. Mm-hmm. That's what he's been known for so far. When he got a super talented team in the Celtics, when Kyrie went the second year when they were expected to go to the finals, they didn't meet expectations. And this year, they're doing great, but we're not sure what's going to happen. My pick is easy. I think Nick Nurse is the best coach in the NBA. Obviously,
I can see why.
Obviously, we can get into like Greg Popovich and stuff,
Of
but
course.
Greg Popovich he's retiring soon. We all know he's one of the.
His time is over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
For
exactly.
Being honest.
Nick Nurse won a championship in his first year coaching as a head coach. He already got over the hurdle that is plaguing Brad Stevens' career so far. What can you do with talent? Mm-hmm. We've seen what Nick Nurse can do with talent.
Yeah.
We've seen what he can do with talent. And now, this year, they lost Kawhi. Everybody ruled them out. And they're second in the Eastern Conference. Players stepped up that you didn't even think were going to step up. Norman Powell's averaging 16 a game.
Pascal Siakam.
Terrence Davis. He's a really good rookie.
Terrence Davis is pretty good.
Chris Boucher.
Boucher is nice.
He's a really good player. So
Matt Thomas. He's a shooter.
So we know that Nick Nurse can elevate underwhelming talent. He can develop players, and he can win if he has talent.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm going with Nick Nurse. I think Nick Nurse is a great coach.
Nick Nurse was the
NBA.
Nick Nurse was the assistant coach under Dwayne Casey too 1 year, right? When they were number one.
When they were number one, yeah.
So I mean, look. Everything points towards Nick Nurse. I mean, I don't think Brad Stevens has had a superstar to the level of Kawhi Leonard on his team. I think Kawhi Leonard is a phenomenal player. I think, I just think, I'm not saying they solely won because of Kawhi Leonard. I mean, Nick Nurse coached these young guys up. They're actually playing really well this year. I give him credit. Pascal Siakam looks good. Norman Powell, I think this year's averaging a career high 15.7 points per game. Nick Nurse is a great coach. I would lean more towards Brad Stevens just because I've seen what he can do without his best player in Kyrie Irving with a bunch of rookies. Now, I know there's a huge, cloud over Kyrie Irving's head following him, saying that whatever team he goes to, he's a team killer. And I could say that Kyrie Irving being on Boston kind of messed their team up more ways than it helped them. You know what I mean? One year that they were the number 1 seed, he only played 68 games. They went to the ECF without him. Next year he's in. They beat Indiana close series 4-0. Then they go to play Milwaukee. They lay an egg. Kyrie Irving has a terrible series. Jason Tatum has a terrible series. This year, when you remove Kyrie Irving off the team, you add Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, 20 points per game. Jason Tatum stepped up. Kemba Walker's playing really well. So I mean, I think this year Boston had a shot at maybe going to the championship ECF, and I think I've seen more from Brad Stevens just because he's coached longer than Nick Nurse. I know Nick Nurse has a championship, but I feel like Brad Stevens has been a really consistent coach for his tenure with Boston.
I know it's a popular thing to say that Kyrie's this cancer, and I'm not saying he's not.
Me neither. But I'm saying that's what follows him. That's the cloud that follows him. You're a Nets fan.
Of course you're going to say
that's
he's not.
Cloud
you're
that
hoping
follows
he's
him.
not. You're hoping he's
not.
not. But look, in Boston, his first year there, they were number one. They were number 1 seed.
With Kyrie, yeah.
The second year,
4.
I don't think it was all Kyrie's fault.
Me neither.
The whole team was on 1-year contracts. Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart needed to get re-signed. Marcus Morris, Kyrie. I mean, the whole team. There were questions around the whole team, and everybody wanted to average 20 so they could get the most amount of money in free agency.
Brad Stevens was the coach when Isaiah Thomas was there too, right?
Yeah, when he scored 29.
Brad Stevens has a really good track record. I mean, he hasn't been able to get to the dance, but Brad Stevens has really been consistently really good for a while now. And this year was looking really good too.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, but Gordon Hayward was coming off his injury. He needed to get back into the mix of things. So there's a lot of things that went wrong with Boston. It's popular to say that it was just Kyrie, but in reality, it was everybody. And at the end of the day, who's the person that's supposed to make everybody gel together?
Brad Stevens.
Yeah. So that is a base. That's a black dot on his resume right now. So look, we're gonna move on to the next topic. It's a popular one. Should the Cowboys pay Dak Prescott long term? Should he be treated like a franchise quarterback?
I think he should be treated like a franchise quarterback. I mean, the past couple years, the Cowboys have had really good seasons. You know, I think he has the best record since coming in the league. So I mean, the Cowboys have won with him. They haven't really done much in the playoffs, but I mean, I feel like Dak Prescott, I've seen a couple articles saying where he's asking for like $45 million.
That's a lie.
I've seen it though. I know a lot of people, well, some of my friends watching this show, you know what I'm talking about. We've literally seen articles saying that he's asking for $45 million, asking to be the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Let's just clarify that.
But yeah, they should sign him. I mean, they've had their best seasons with him at the helm in quite a while now. Last year he had like 33 touchdowns, right? Like a couple interceptions. He's been really well. I don't think you break something that's been working necessarily for a while now, for like the past 3-4 years. I mean, he hasn't had a losing season. Granted, he's had very good teams, but I mean, a quarterback like Dak Prescott, you found him in the 3rd round. He replaces Tony Romo, and you know, being the quarterback at Dallas, it comes with a lot of pressure, and for the most part, I think he's handled that pretty well. I think for his skill base, what do you think? Maybe 30-35 mil a year isn't bad for him.
I think that's
what I think that's very reasonable. Now, people in the articles telling me that he wants 45 mil, that's ridiculous. But I mean, yeah, I think the Cowboys should pay Dak, but I also don't think they should overpay him either. So I think maybe around $30-35 million is good for Dak, for a quarterback like Dak.
Let's just clarify that though. He never asked for $45 million.
Where the hell are people getting that from?
This is Phil Simms broke that story, and then he was wrong.
Oh my God!
Everybody, Ian Rappaport was like, "Yo, this guy's wrong." That was not true. What Dak Prescott was saying, that he doesn't want to sign a 5-year contract, which is what Dallas wants to do. Mm-hmm. The salary cap in the NFL is going up every single year. In 5 years, $40-45 million might be normal quarterback money. Mm-hmm. Not normal, but like franchise quarterback money. Mm-hmm. So Dak is like, look, if you want me to sign for the 5th year, the 5th year has to be $45 million a year. Mm. So years 1 to 4 would be $33 million a year,
which I think he's worth.
Yeah, and then the 5th year would be $45 million a year. The Cowboys are like, nah. So he's like, then nah. Right now, Dak is just asking for 4 years. He doesn't even want the 5th year.
Yeah.
So that was just misreported by Chris Sims.
Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's
so that was just misreported by Chris Sims. But look, I'm going to get right into Dak. He's a franchise quarterback, and there's no doubt about it. People want to blame Dak for last season, but okay. I'll tell you all the things that went wrong with Dallas, okay? They had the second worst field goal kicker in the league in Brett Maher. They cut him later on in the season. He made 67% of his kicks. 67% of his kicks. And look, the Cowboys were fourth in drops. His receivers dropped balls.
Gallup led the league in drops.
And they were 27th in forcing turnovers. Their defense was 27th in forcing turnovers. You want to know the only teams that were worse than that?
Let me hear.
The Dolphins, the Bengals, the Giants, the Raiders, and the Chargers.
Oh, my God.
4 of those teams had a top 5 pick. Then we get into the biggest one of them all. Jason Garrett. He's a horrible coach.
He's a very bad coach.
So every single year when Tony Romo was there, even when Dak was there, everybody wants to bash Jason Garrett. He's a bad coach. He's this, he's that. The second that Jason Garrett leaves, it's Dak's fault. So we're not going to give any blame to Jason Garrett. So he didn't contribute to them being 8-8. Yeah. He most certainly did contribute. I think he was the main contributor to being 8-8. Now they have a really good coach in Mike McCarthy. So we're going to see a different Dak Prescott this upcoming season because he's going to play. And they have a lot of weapons. And he's going to play really good.
So, I mean, what's your prediction? Where do you see the Cowboys finishing? Where do you see them going to the playoffs? Like, how far?
Look, I don't even know.
Well, injuries aside.
Because the
Cowboys are definitely a playoff team.
Because the Eagles and the Cowboys, I think, are a close matchup.
The Cowboys
I'm not
better.
Sure. No, I think the Eagles are better.
We'll see.
I think the Eagles are better.
You forget they have Carson Wentz, that injury-prone quarterback back there. We'll see.
No, I'm just saying.
We'll see.
Think we look at the defense. The Cowboys lost Byron Jones. They lost Jeff Heath, even though he wasn't a good safety. That was their best safety, though.
Jeff Heath?
And he's not good. So
Byron Jones, he got overpaid in Miami.
This is why they need Jamal Adams, though.
Yeah.
This is why they need Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
But they need to give us Michael Gallup if they want Jamal Adams.
He's a superstar in the making.
Superstar. You're crazy. You're crazy.
He's good, though. He's solid. He's pretty good.
No, but yeah. Okay. Dak was dealing with a bad coach, receivers who couldn't catch the ball, a defense who couldn't force any turnovers.
He kind of looked a little off to me
and a bad field goal kicker. So there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can overcome that in the NFL. He has a great offensive line. That's true. He had Amari Cooper, a true number 1 receiver.
Great running back.
But their defense didn't force any turnovers. Yeah, I can't forget about Zeke.
Yeah.
But if your defense can't force great field position or force turnovers, then you have to do it all on offense. And that's really the reality of it.
What happened to Leighton Vander Esch? He kind of regressed.
I think I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, they were both kind of injured last year.
I know Jalen Smith was.
So, okay. Now we're getting into, this flew by. Which quarterback that was drafted in the 2019 draft class is going to have the best career? The quarterbacks that we're going to pick out of is Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, and Gardner Minshew. So which quarterback do you think is going to be the best out of all of these quarterbacks?
I'm going to lean towards Kyler Murray just because, he has DeAndre Hopkins now. He has Larry Fitzgerald, reliable. Christian Kirk is pretty good. A stat that actually surprised me that I was looking yesterday, the Cardinals were much improved in pass protection for Kyler Murray, allowing quick pressure on just 18.2% of their dropbacks, which was 6th best in the league. So that actually kind of caught me off guard. A lot of the sacks were self-inflicted for Kyler Murray trying to, make plays, But, given what he had last year, he had 27 touchdowns, 13 picks. Didn't really have a true number 1. He had an old number 1 in Larry Fitzgerald. David Johnson was kind of iffy all year. You got DeAndre Hopkins, who's a superstar. Safe to say,
he's a superstar.
Safe to say a top 3 to top 2 wideout in the game right now.
Yeah.
So I think they got Kyler Murray some help, and it's safe to say that it's not out of the realm to see him improve from his rookie year, which was actually pretty good. So my pick for from here on out to have the best career out of the guys you just named, I'm gonna lean more towards Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is an easy pick to go to. He has an offensive head coach. He has the best weapons out of all of these quarterbacks. But I really like Gardner Minshew. I really like Gardner Minshew.
Jaguars, bro.
I really like Gardner Minshew. They have a number 1 receiver in DJ Chark.
Nice.
They drafted Laviska Shenault. You might not know about him, but Laviska Shenault is a really good receiver.
Okay.
But this is why I say this.
Leonard Fournette.
I think. Look, this is why I say this. Gardner Minshew just has that it factor. He just gives you hope that you can win games. A lot of the games that he lost last year were close games if you look at it. Gardner Minshew, he kept Jacksonville in those games. He has a clutch factor. He's accurate. He can run. He's actually a better runner than Kyler Murray. You look at the scramble yards, Lamar Jackson was 1, Gardner was 2.
How many games did Gardner play?
He didn't play all 16. And he was second in scramble yards. So this is what I'm saying. Gardner Minshew has that it factor, and I know people want to make fun of him because he looks dorky, but we're gonna be honest. He's a good quarterback, and he had the best quarterback rating out of every single quarterback last year in his rookie season.
Even over Kyler Murray?
Yeah. He had a better quarterback rating, and Gardner Minshew was probably in a worse situation in terms of the dysfunction around the team. Ramsey wanted to get traded. All of these players complaining about fines. A.J. Boye complaining. Everybody was complaining about the Jaguars. People wanted the coach to get fired. There was a lot of dysfunction, and he handled it really well. Even when Nick Foles got healthy, you see that he didn't even care that he was back on the bench.
Yeah.
He just waited until Nick Foles played like garbage
again
until he got his job back.
Yeah.
And he did that, and he showed out again. So I think there's problems with all these quarterbacks. Dwayne Haskins, we don't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
So I can't really make a prediction. Drew Lock, we don't know
small
who he
sample
is yet.
size.
Yeah, we
pretty
don't
good
know.
though.
I mean,
pretty good for a very small sample size. He looked okay though.
We don't know who he is.
We don't know
yet.
who any of these guys are, but okay.
Daniel Jones, I just can't get over his fumbling problems.
You like him though.
I like Daniel Jones, but I just can't get over his fumbling problems. Right now, I think it's between Kyler Murray and Gardner Minshew. Yeah. And I think the Jaguars got better this offseason. On offense. I don't know about everything else, but on offense, I think they did.
Chance is happy.
On offense, they got better, I think, in everything. Those are honestly all the topics. This went by really, really quick.
Yeah, it did.
Really quick.
This was a good episode, though. It was pretty cool doing this one.
Yeah, we got to come up with more topics next time.
Facts.
Like
how long was that?
It was 30 minutes.
That's not
about
bad.
30 minutes.
I think we have time for not time for this one, but maybe we could add another one or two next time.
Yeah, because I don't have nothing in my head that I can say now.
Okay, fuck it.
All right, thank you guys for watching this episode of Pick a Side. It was pretty short, but hey, I mean sometimes it goes like that. So,
Jets football.
Jamal
baby.
Adams, we hope that you stay.
No, I don't. Nah, stop. I hope Jamal Adams stays. I mean, it's my favorite player on the team. I mean, but if you want to go to the Cowboys, good riddance.
Nah, I really don't care, to be honest.
Good riddance.
He could go. I'm fine.
The president.
All right, thank you guys for watching.
Deuces.